Proximity alert. Megs.
We're back for another movie review, and this time around we're going to be talking about the sequel to Meg, Meg 2 The Trench. To be honest, I feel like mabilis lang tong movie review na to because this is going to be the first time actually na hindi ganun kadami yung magandang bagay or good things that I have to say about this movie. So I'm preempting this and I'm saying this that it's not actually all that worthwhile. This movie is not all that worth it to watch. I was actually expecting it to be actually a pretty okay film as it is. The first movie was actually surprising in the sense that it wasn't all out na sobrang ganda, mind-blowingly awesome. It was a nice, mindless movie that actually exceeded my expectations kasi above it all, it was still fun to see. Okay siya, okay lang. But this had me expecting, okay, you're gonna at least continue or do things better, you know? And it just didn't. So the first thing I want to talk about is just the too much principle. Less is more in my opinion, and it applies all the more for this movie because Meg 2 The Trench just does so many ridiculous things one after the other that it just becomes too much. First thing, it has more than just one Meg. I think the first film had, I think, two. This had like a family of Megs. So that in itself was a bit like, okay, you want to top what you did last time. Okay, understandable. But then you add the giant octopus. You add those lizards that kind of made it look like Jurassic Park. Pag sinama-sama mo lahat yon, even the thinness of the plot with our characters itself, the human characters, so many things are happening all at once that it becomes too tiresome. And it's not paired with the pacing, which is my second point. The pacing of this movie is quite slow as it is having so many things in it. That's what's actually surprising. Ang dami siyang plot points and things that are happening, but then it's still slow. You have different narratives happening, especially in the first part of the film, that don't necessarily translate towards the end, and it's just, again, over the top, but still manages to be a bit boring at times. Like I said, I would have expected to have the same level or subtlety from the first film, or just add and perfect certain parts of that. Here, it was just a mess. It just ends up wacky and goofy. I mean, especially that scene with Jason Statham on that jet ski with a harpoon. I mean, that was just, it was nuts. It was crazy. I mean, it didn't make sense. It felt like a joke when it was a serious moment in the film. It was the climax of the film, the big, like almost ending of it. And the ending itself was like, okay, what was that? That's it? Everything just goes back to normal. Everything is just, it's just crazy. Lastly, one of the things that I thought would be the saving grace, well, I didn't really think of it that much because I felt like there wasn't any standout in the cast, but they could have had a standout acting persona here or someone who would act really well. But the lines here, the acting skills here, even Jason Statham as it is, isn't honestly the best actor there is in terms of action films. There are moments that he feels very monotonous, very stoic, that doesn't really apply to the moment that you're in. British badass guy that comes in, beats sharks, and that's it. It lacked a lot of star power for me, and it lacked good acting skills. The majority of them, they even tried their hands at jokes that really didn't fly. So there's nothing all that good to say. There's nothing that saved it for me. I would honestly give it, sad to say, a 2 out of 10. I think this is honestly the end of this franchise. I mean, it didn't really have the potential of going greater heights than this. And sadly, this showed that it's just going to dip down and maybe from here on out, dip lower and lower, trench style. See what I did there? Pun intended. So that's it for this movie review of Meg 2 The Trench. Have you checked it out? Because I suggest that you don't, because it's not all that great. So that's it. Don't forget to make every day into an adventure. God bless, guys. Peace out and catch me on the next one.